Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? It's Andi. I hope everyone's doing well. So today in this video, I'm coming at you with my lasagna recipe. And it is so damn good. Let me just tell you, if I may say so myself, it's a beautiful recipe. So I've been making this recipe for years and I kind of tweaked it a little bit here and there. So this is post lasagna. I already made it and everyone has always loved it, but this time it was the best and everyone said so. And I agree. So I just want to share my recipe and hope that other people enjoy it. There's some people who like to go check by check on a recipe, and there's other people who like to kind of go by what they like. You can modify it, of course, on your taste and what you and your family or whoever you're serving enjoy. That's what I do. So I take my own preferences and tastes. I put a twist on recipes and kind of make them my own, and then I end up saving those and tweaking them if I need to as I go along. But I have to say, this one ended up being the best I've ever made. And so I'm keeping it. I wrote everything down, all the measurements, and this is going to be my lasagna recipe from here on out. Like I said, you can always modify things, substitute, shorten, or lengthen, or whatever you like to your taste. But if you like a classic Italian-American lasagna, then I promise you will love this. And I just really suggest following the recipe exactly, and I promise you and whoever you serve it to will absolutely enjoy it. So you're gonna need 2 pounds of ground beef, a half a pound of hot Italian sausage. Now, you can substitute this with sweet Italian sausage because I know a lot of people like that, but I just choose to use the hot Italian. But I personally am not the hugest sausage fan, so that's why I only put a half a pound. So it ends up being 2.5 pounds of meat. So if you like sausage more, you could put in a full pound and use a pound and a half of ground beef. And then I use 1 onion, half of green pepper, and then I used 2 portobello mushrooms, and I just diced them up really well, and 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, of course minced. So you just want to saute all your veggies for a couple minutes on like medium-high heat, mix them all together until they're caramelized for a couple minutes. And oh, doesn't that look like it smells so good? I wish you could smell it because it really does. I love the smell of cooking veggies and onion and garlic. But anyway, so while that's cooking, you can drain your grease from the meat. Make sure you get all the fat out of that and set it aside again because we're going to put all the sauces in the pot before the meat. And 1 big 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and then 2 cans of tomato paste, and you want to put about half a cup of water, or just fill up one of those cans of tomato paste full of water and put that in, and 1 jar of tomato sauce. So I personally use a 24-ounce jar of pasta sauce. I use roasted garlic. You can use whatever kind you like, but I use an actual jar of pasta sauce that you would use for like spaghetti or anything like that. And then 1 tablespoon of white sugar and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, also 2 teaspoons of fresh chopped basil. Now, I think that the key to this recipe is fresh herbs. In my experience, well, I think it's just a known fact. Whenever you cook, fresh herbs are so much better to use, are so much more enjoyable. It just brings out the flavor of the recipe. If you have dried, that's perfectly fine. I just think, in my personal opinion, that fresh herbs always come out on top. I use 2 teaspoons of fresh chopped basil, 1 tablespoon of salt, half a tablespoon of black pepper, 4 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley. You're going to break that up, so 2 tablespoons for the sauce and 2 tablespoons for the ricotta cheese mixture. So then that is all for the sauce and the meat. So you want to add all the herbs and the spices to the sauce and stir it really well and bring it to a slight boil on a low medium heat. And then you can add the meat right back into the sauce and stir it well again and continue to heat it until it comes back to a slight boil. And then you are going to want to cover it and simmer for about an hour to an hour and a half, stirring it like every 20 minutes. You're going to want 12 to 15 lasagna noodles, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper, 2 tablespoons of parsley for the ricotta mixture, which I just said, and 15-ounce ricotta cheese, 2 eggs, and 3/4 of a pound of mozzarella, fresh mozzarella if possible. I had fresh mozzarella that I had frozen, and I just took it out of the freezer and thawed it, and I chopped up that. So I do like fresh mozzarella. I think it's always amazing to cook with, but you know, just use what you got, girl. So you know what I mean? Still came out awesome and didn't really make too much of a difference. So, and then 3/4 of a cup of grated Parmesan. Now for the lasagna noodles, in the past I have always used the lasagna noodles that you boil. This time I was just trying to save on time, and I used the oven ready lasagna noodles. You can get flat ones like this that are almost pretty much really flat, or you can get ones that are kind of indented like this. Now, I was worried if this was going to be different because I've always used the other ones. I've always just boiled them, and they, you know, it's nice to be able to kind of bend them where you want and just kind of lay them over perfectly and all that stuff. But I used the oven ready for the first time, and I have to say, it really didn't make a difference. I thought it was just as good, if not better, because it just saved time, and I was able to just overlap them. And I actually didn't use as many because they're pretty thick. And you know, if you ever used the noodles that you cook, you know they're pretty thin, and these are a lot thicker. So all you have to do is just make sure you have enough sauce, or your sauce isn't too dry or anything like that. Make sure it's saucy, and that's why you want to add water, and there's enough sauce in the meat mixture, and you want to make sure there's enough sauce on your bottom layer. I think from now on I'll probably just use these, because it saves time, and I was kind of in a hurry to get it done. That's why I was making it. I took pictures, everything in the beginning of the process, but I was trying to just get it, you know, put together and done with. So unfortunately, when I was putting it together, I forgot to record. All you need to do is, after you make up your meat sauce, then you make your ricotta mixture. And so you take a 9x13 baking dish, and you put down a nice thick layer of your meat sauce, and then you put down 5 to 6 lasagna noodles. And with the lasagna noodles that you cook, you're going to want to put them lengthwise like this, and normally you can put 5 to 6 in each layer if you're putting them horizontally. But with these, obviously there are different shape, and so I ended up putting them across like this, and I was able to fit 5 comfortably in a 9x13 on each layer. Put a nice meat sauce layer down first on the bottom of the pan, which is really important. You don't want to burn noodles or anything like that. So you start out with the meat sauce, then you put down 5 noodles, overlapping them about like a half an inch overlap, and then you put down half the ricotta mixture over top of the noodles, and then you put down more of the meat sauce. You can obviously gauge how much, just so it covers everything nicely. And then you want to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top. You want to put down the meat sauce, then the noodles, and then the ricotta mixture. And you want to cover the ricotta mixture in sliced mozzarella cheese. You know, sliced pretty thin, but not too thin, all over. So you want to make sure you get a nice layer of mozzarella on top of that ricotta mixture. And then you want to put on another layer of meat sauce. And with this recipe, I actually ended up having quite a bit of meat sauce left over, so don't worry about not having enough, because trust me, you'll probably have some left over and you can freeze it or use it for something else or whatever. So you want to put a nice generous layer, and then you are going to sprinkle the grated Parmesan cheese. Make sure you cover the whole thing. And then, so you're just going to repeat those layers that we just did. You're going to want to put another layer of the noodles on top, but you're going to be out of ricotta cheese mixture at this point. So you just want to put another layer of noodles, and then you can put the rest of the mozzarella and Parmesan cheese on top. And then you want to cover it. And if you want, I always try to get my lasagna made, especially if it's like a holiday or a birthday or a special occasion. I really like to try to get my lasagna made the day before, the night before, and cover it with foil and put it in the fridge, because it really does matter when it comes to letting it sit, kind of marinate in all those flavors. It's like marinating meat, you know. It definitely makes a difference. So I try to do that, but if you can't, which I wasn't able to this time, no big deal. It's still going to be amazing, but you just want to cover it with foil and either put it in the fridge or put it right in the oven. And you're going to want to put that, make sure it's covered in foil loosely. You don't want the cheese to melt on the foil and get it stuck and then it'll come off. So I always take cooking spray and spray my foil on the bottom. I just very, very loosely cover it, you know, so try not to touch the top layer of the cheese or anything like that. You kind of want to just make like a little dome. So you're going to want to put that in the oven at 375, and you're going to want to bake that for like 40 to 45 minutes covered with the foil. And then you want to take the foil off for like the last 15 to 20, maybe sometimes 20 to 30 minutes. It just depends on how golden you want it on top, and you know, you just want to check on it. So it's probably going to be about 15 to 20 minutes, but if you think it needs a little bit more time, you know, just leave it in. And then you want to take it out and let it sit for definitely a good 15 to 20 minutes before you serve it. It's just much easier to serve and cut and all that when it's been sitting for at least 15. That's it. But I really hope that you try this recipe. Like I said, this is by far my favorite that I've ever done, and I think it's an awesome recipe. Anyone who's ever had this lasagna, anytime I've made it, I make it every year on Christmas. Like I said, I've tweaked it here and there, but this time was the best, and so everyone always enjoys it and always asks me to make it again. So I just really hope that you try it out, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. If you want, give me any suggestions of what you'd like to see. I mean, I've always been into cooking and I love, love, love food and cooking, but I'm really trying to like get into making some really nice homemade cooked meals that are like, I'm trying to try out some different things. So I always love trying out new things, but it's always nice to make what you know and what you love and the recipes that are close to your heart. So I'm also going to be sharing my amazing cheesecake recipe right after this that I also made in the same day. So give me a thumbs up if you like it and leave me a comment down below, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.